Hey guys, Mr. Riz here to help you out with the factoring and review worksheet. So we're going to go over this, trying to help you get prepared for the quiz that's coming up soon. So there's a lot of different types of factoring. So the first thing we're going to do is just go over those different types. First thing is just GCF factoring. So GCF factoring is a greatest common factor. Basically, you look to see, okay, what's the biggest number you can divide both terms by? And in this case, we can divide 4 and 14 both by 2. And then we look to see if they have any variables in common. They both have an x, and they really only have one of each. And that has 3, that has 1, but 1's the most we can take away from both of them. All right, so what we're going to do next is to divide. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then we lower it by 1x. Okay, so x cubed becomes x squared. Minus, then we go to the next term. All right, 14 divided by 2 is 7. And if it has an x and we lowered it or got rid of an x, divided an x, it's all the same thing, there wouldn't be any x. So there's the answer for number 1. Remember, if you want to pause the video at any time to kind of try it on your own, you can. Let's go through the next one. All right, what's the biggest number we can divide 8 and 4 both by? We can divide them by 4. All right. And then we have x's on both sides, so that'd be an x. And they all have at least 5 of them. Okay, so if we start dividing here, 8 divided by 4 will give us 2. And we're going to reduce this by 5 x's, so that just becomes x cubed. Pretty much just subtracting x's. Then minus 4 divided by 4 is 1. We have 5 x's, we got rid of 5. There'd be no more x's. So it's just minus 1 at the end. Okay, so there's GCF factoring. Pretty straightforward. Now, difference of squares. Difference of squares are special factoring where you have two terms. There's a minus sign in the middle because that's what difference means, and squares meaning you can take the square root of both of those numbers. We can on both of those, and if we remember here, oh, hey, Jace. One's going to be plus, one's going to be minus. So we pretty much get the first term by taking the square root of the first term. Square root of 64 is 8, so we got 8x and 8x. And then we take the square root of the second term. 25 is 5. So our two factors are 8x plus 5 and 8x minus 5. All right, next we got this one here. You can pause it if you want to try it on your own. But we're going to have 1 is going to be positive, or 1's plus, 1's minus. We take the square root. The square root of 121 is 11, so we got 11x. And the square root of 4 is 2. So we got 11x plus 2 and 11x minus 2. All right, next we got factor by grouping. Remember with factor by grouping, kind of the dead giveaway is that we have 4 terms. What we like to do is split it down the middle and do a GCF on both sides. So what's the GCF between 12 and 10? That would be 2. Right. Yep, and then x cubed and x squared. Okay, that'd be x squared. All right, so if we GCF that out, 12 divided by 2 is 6. And if we have x cubed, we divide by x squared, that's just x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. X squared divided by x squared gets rid of the x squared. So we got a 6x plus 5 in the parenthesis. All right, now on the other side, we're going to do the GCF. The only GCF between the two is 3. That's the biggest number we can divide 18 and 15 both by. All right, 18 divided by 3 is 6. We have an x. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. And hey, look at that. We did this correctly. We get the same parenthesis. So that means our solution is the parenthesis that they have in common, the 6x plus 5. And then the other parenthesis is what's on the other, or on the outsides here. We got 2x squared and 3. So 2x squared plus 3 is the other parenthesis. Let's try the next one here. All right, what's the biggest number to divide 6 and 15 both by? That would be 3. And x cubed would be the largest x we can take away. All right, 6 divided by 3 is 2. And that drops down to x squared. And then we'd have a minus. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now on the other side, what can we divide 8 and 20 both by? That would be 4. If we divide it by 4, that just becomes a 2x squared. And hey, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So, yep, we have the same 2x squared minus 5. So that's one parenthesis. And the other parenthesis is what's on the outside, the 3x cubed and a 4. Next group of factoring that we went over are the factoring the trinomials. So these are where we have our x's, we have our riddle. We try to figure out, okay, in this problem here, what two numbers multiply together to give us negative 24, add together to get the middle number, negative 10. All right, that would be negative 12 and 2. All right, negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. So we would have an x minus 12 and an x plus 2. Try again on the other side here. So we're going to see what two numbers multiply together to give us 60. Add together to get negative 19. All right, logically speaking here, both of these are going to have to be negative numbers. Let's see, is that 15 and 4? I believe so. 15 and 4. All right, so we would have an x minus 15 and an x minus 4. All right, now when we have a trinomial, but the leading term is greater than 1, these are our, slip and slide riddle problems. So we are going to have to multiply the 6 times the negative 7. It's negative 42. So that's our top number. Middle number is still negative 11. Ooh, this is going to make me think, what could we multiply together to get negative 42? Oh, is it 3 and 14? Yep. So it's a positive 3 and a negative 14. Okay, so what we're going to do with these problems here, we got an x plus 3 and an x minus 14. But the next step is to then divide by the number in front. So we're going to divide them by 6. So what we need to do first is to reduce the fraction. 3 over 6 reduces to 1 over 2. 14 over 6 is reducing to, divide both by 2, 7 over 3. And then we're going to slide any denominators that we have. So this 2 is going to slide over. This 3 is going to slide over. So the final answer is a 2x plus 1 times a 3x minus 7. All right, so let's try the next one over here. So remember, when we have a number in front, we multiply it. 5 times negative 15, or 3 is negative 15. And then the middle number is still negative 14, the middle number. All right, what multiplies to give us negative 15? Adds together to get negative 14. That'd be negative 15 and a positive 1. So we got an x minus 15 and an x plus 1. We're going to divide by the number in front. We always need to divide by the number in front. All right, this one's kind of nice because it does simplify. All right, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 1 over 5 doesn't simplify, so we're just going to slide that denominator over. So that's a 5x plus 1. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up all the different factoring we can do. The next thing and the last thing we covered is how do we solve by factoring. So when we solve by factoring, we set the equation equal to 0, which is nice because all these are equal to 0. And then we just factor. So we have to know, okay, is this a GCF? Is this difference of squares, grouping, trinomial? What's going on? All right, this next one here, we got two terms with a minus sign in the middle, but we can't take the square root of both of those. So this is probably a GCF factoring. So what's the biggest number we can divide 12 and 6 both by? That'd be a 6. And then what's the biggest? They both have x's. So we're going to factor out a 6x. 12 divided by 6 is 2. X squared would drop down to x. All right, 6 divided by 6 is 1, and the x would drop away because we got rid of the x. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take each part, each parenthesis or each part, and you're going to set them equal to 0 and solve them. All right, so when we have 6x equal to 0, if we divide by 6, well, that's easy. That means x would equal 0. Now over here, the 2x plus 1, we're going to add 1 over. So 2x would equal 1, and then divide that by 2. and x would equal 1/2. So remember, with factoring or solving by factoring, you're more than likely going to get two solutions here. This one would be 0 and 1/2. Okay, this next problem here, we got x squared minus 4. Okay, but look, there's not a GCF we can factor out, but we have two terms with a minus in the middle. That's a difference of square problems. All right. So if we take the square root of 1x squared, that would just be a 1x. If we take the square root of 4, that is 2. Okay. So we got a 1x plus 2 and a 1x minus 2. We set both of those equal to 0. I'm just going to change it to x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. These are pretty easy here. You're going to minus the 2 over, and so that means x equals -2. And add the 2 over on this one, and x would equal +2. So if you remember when we did differences of squares, one answer is they're going to be basically the same number except for one's positive, one's negative. All right, next one here, we got 3 terms here, so that should be a giveaway that it's a trinomial. And we got to figure out, okay, what two numbers multiply together to give us 27, add together to get -12. All right, both of these have to be negative numbers, and then be a -9 and a -3. So we got an x minus 9 and an x plus 3. Oh my, nope, it's not +3. Good morning. It's an x minus 3. I'm thinking of the next step. So we're going to take those two equations and set them equal to 0. And you can kind of see, like in the difference of squares, if you just have like an x minus something or x plus something, you just get the opposite term. So x would equal +9 as a solution, and x would equal +3 as the other solution. All right, last problem here. So we got a trinomial, but now we have a number in front. All right, so let's multiply. 12 times -3 is -36. -5 is in the middle. All right, that means we'd have to be a -9 and a +4. So we got let's go through this step here. We got an x minus 9 and an x plus 4. Man, this is like as bad as it can get. But if you can handle this, test is going to be easy for you. We got to divide both of those by 12. They simplify. All right, so that would be an x minus, both can divide by 3 there. That'd be a 3 over 4. And this one over here would be, divide them both by 4. That'd be a 1 over 3. And then we can slide both of those. I'm kind of running out of room, so we'll write it over here. If we slide the denominators over, we'd get a 4x minus 3 and a 3x plus 1. We still have it equal 0. Okay, now we're finally going to go ahead and take each term, set it equal to 0 to solve for them. All right, so in this first one here, we're going to add 3 over and then divide by 4. All right, so one answer is 3 over 4. The other one, we're going to minus 1 and then divide that by 3. We get a -1/3. 2 answers, there we go. All right, guys, so this is a simple review. We're just kind of focusing on factoring before we move on to anything more difficult in Chapter 4. You guys have any questions, make sure you ask, but thanks for watching.